It's no surprise, really, that inspiration strikes each of us in different ways. We're inspired to take action, to delve into artistic endeavors, to connect and reconnect with those who have made significant impact upon our lives. And we find ourselves inspired by absorbing the life stories of those around us. We can let our imaginations try to appreciate what life was like 100 years ago. We can study books and news accounts of the day when there was no bridge connecting Portsmouth and Kittery. We can look at pictures of the events that took place around and during World War II. But unless you actually lived through these experiences, the full appreciation is lost to our imaginations. Graham Alvord of Kittery Point. He did ride that ferry boat to Portsmouth. He did experience life without television, and he was the executive commander of the first ship to land at Normandy Beach on D-Day. His life lived and now shared with so many is an inspiration to us all. Tonight we present PPMTV's first Lifetime Inspiration Award to Graham Alvord.
And you think about this man in his life. He's seen the Roaring '20s, stock market crash of '29, the Great Depression, the New Deal, World War II, executive also on a ship at Normandy, the Korean War, the atomic bomb, and a few years after that he turned 40.
In the year he was born, 1916, World War I was in full swing, and the Battle of Verdun began between the German and the French armies in February of that year.
When the President, Roosevelt, proposed Lend-Leases, things were getting tougher and tougher for the Brits, and France had already given up. We didn't know much about the Russians, and when that piece of legislation, it was passed by one vote, and I thought, okay, Hitler's going to go through the rest of Europe, and we'll eventually wake up to the seriousness of it for us, and we'd probably be in the war for 15 years. Well, we didn't think of it as a big plus at the time, but we know what happened to push out of the war was the Japanese coming in. That meant all of a sudden the U.S. was practically 100% out of war. After the course of a certain amount of time, the U.S. was getting ready to create a fleet of vessels, and they were looking for people to man those vessels. The vessels were called LST, which stands for Landing Ship Tanks, and they were large. Our crew was 10, and we had 2 other added to that, and those were medical people, because our ship was fitted out with space to take on the wounded. When we first got to England, my job was executive officer, which meant that I was mostly in charge of directing the ship. The first trip, we were slotted to be one of the first ones over there. There were probably, 15 LSTs operating around, but we had the honor of being the number 1. And the battle was not going well for us on the first day around Normandy. So although we were originally designed to go in on the afternoon of D-Day, as we were going in, we were flagged to turn around and go back and stay overnight about 10 miles from the shore. And then the next day we were told to go back in. It's hard to be exact about what you remember, but I don't remember a minute's fear. There's something about warfare, especially if you think it's a necessary thing and you've got to do the best you can, and you just say, well, my job is to do this, and I know my brother had already died in a battle. So on our second trip in, we got through the first one all right. And as that was coming over close to shore, we were following a line of ships, and the one in front of us, maybe 100 feet away. And I was conning the ship, so I was right there at the conning station, And all of a sudden, the one in front was upside down. It hit some kind of mine. So that meant that when we being right behind him, wow, we were a little careful going in. And then 2 days later, when we were coming across the channel, we were hit by a mine and lost a fair number of people, including a crew. I still have a vivid memory of one of our young guys, about 17 or 18, who had been in the crew's quarters when the thing blew up. He was near the crew's quarters, and he ran up to the open deck and jumped into the water. We were struck by the mine halfway across the channel, so we were towed the rest of the way in and discharged our load of equipment, and then we were towed back to England, and after we were patched up, we were towed all the way back to New York City. I left the ship at that point.
What kind of advice would you offer to a 10-year-old child?
Keep your ears open and don't feel you're constricted. In other words, learn as much as you can. Go on learning as much as you can.
What kind of advice would you offer to someone who's in their 80s?
Hang on.
It's possible.
If you had a chance to go visit France, why, I'd say do it.
One last question. What is it that gives you inspiration?
Well, a good piece of history and literature. I've just been finishing reading a novel, and I think it's a wonderful, wonderful novel, a wonderful piece of writing, and I have enjoyed reading it over a period of a couple of weeks, not wanting to rush it too fast. By Love Possessed is the name of it, by Cousins, C-O-Z-E-N-S. He's not a terribly popular writer right now, but that's one of the best books I've ever read. So I get a big charge out of that. I should put alongside that theater. I love to see plays and operas, things like that done in the theater.
Graham Alvord, thank you very much for being with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. That impresses me greatly. My lifetime had turned out to be a longer time than I expected. I back away from any thought of what I have given to the community because the community has given me so much. But this takes me back to my beginnings in Kittery Point when I was 5 or 6 years old, and my grandfather, beloved figure in our family, was the minister here, and I used to come up to visit him. I know millions of other men and some women deserve the same thing, but for some strange, unknown reason, I keep going on living.